Hello and welcome back to a brand new Rage Gaming video. My name is still, in fact, Hollow, and today we're back for another double weapon breakdown for Rise. These videos are slamming out this week, 2 new weapons each and every day with their awesome new updates that are coming in Rise. Plus, we have new reveals like armor sets, weapons, and new monsters showing up too. Speaking of which, today we have Hammer and the Sword and Shield, and with that Hammer video, we have a new monster coming from World Revealed. Yep, Anjanath is back. I'm really happy about that. Anju was my favorite monster from the original forest during my first time playing World. And what's not to love? It's literally a fire T-Rex, man. But moving on, let's talk Hammer. In this gameplay, we do get a good look at the Royal Ludroth armor set and the hammer itself. Basically, a bit of a hilarious looking sponge outfit. More of a funny and silly outfit that I'm sure some people will love, while the hammer is a bit more strange. More of a standard yellow hammer than anything else. Not as fun, I would say. But let's get into that gameplay, which starts with the hunter charging up the hammer and holding it up to 3 charges. This would normally trigger a spin move if you release it while moving. So to avoid that, you'd stop moving and then let the attack fly to do the double hit. But now we can do that while moving. So where's the spin attack gone? Don't worry, it's still here, but it's triggered a different way. It seems like the level 1 charge is used in this clip to then let go for the spin. But we also see them stand still before they spin, which is something you'd normally intentionally do to avoid spinning in World. This means we either trigger the spin by standing still, or we'll do it from our first charge, but whichever it is, both are better than the original in World. It's a good change though, but what's really good is the spin might be a bit more relevant in Rise because you now combo a spin into the 5th hit of the Big Bang combo. That's a huge damaging hit that you'd normally have to be doing in sort of a standstill idle slamming the monster combo over and over. Now you can pull that out from a spin, which is a huge change. Maybe we're all going to be spinning as hammers now. But let's get started with our first silkbind attack. Using a wirebug, we'll hold on and charge up a hammer for up to 3 levels. The more and more we charge it, the more power we get from the flip attack from Iceborne. This means we won't be needing a jump or a slide to trigger my favorite hammer attack anymore. We can just do it from a wirebug anywhere. And we see in this clip, by the way, that during the charge up, we didn't seem to stagger when hit, since the hunter seemed to tank hits from Anjanath during that charge up. That's insane. You don't often see immunity like that. With just that, I think these hammer changes are looking really good. But we still have that second silkbind attack, an aerial hammer hit, in which we use the wirebug to leap straight up, smashing the monster in the face on the way up, and then absolutely destroying on the downward slam. So hard, in fact, that it breaks the earth upon impact. Now that is hammer gameplay. Holy crap. Naturally, tons of these attacks can stagger or even knock down the monster because, hey, man, this is a hammer. What can I say, man? Every aspect of what we just looked at looks so good. Am I a hammer main now? I don't know. But let's move on to the Sword and Shield, which actually has some great changes coming in Rise. Before we look at that, take a look at who's back. Another reveal. It's Kulu, Yaku, aka the derpy chicken raptor thing. Not my best naming attempt. I figure he's going to grab a rock and probably slap you with it, so heads up. Kulu is definitely a silly but good beginner monster for, say, a brand new first time ever playing Monster Hunter player, so I'm sure we'll fight him early on because of that. The gameplay itself does show the Kurama armor set, which is the iconic set of Rise, and then of course the Sword and Shield, which looks like basic metal, but is probably the Kimura Sword and Shield, and I reckon these are going to be the weapons we start the game with. Starting off the gameplay though, we have a basic combo from the SNS that has us hitting 2 times and then doing that double spin, which looks really good, and it's nice to see lots of spinning in SNS gameplay. In the second clip, well, this is something new. Is that a counter? Baiting in a hit, the hunter counters a hit by blocking with that blue effect, then returning blows with a new beautiful combo, which features a powerhouse uppercut and then a slap with the sword, which in this case knocks the monster down. I am all about that. The old classic perfect rush is back, where we do a little dash backwards after we do a hit, which we can then combo into more hits like we do in this case, and suddenly we have this new shield uppercut with a glow effect, a sort of charged up shield bash, followed up by the leaping perfect rush, and then of course the standard sword plunge attack. This looks awesome, very fluid, powerful and flashy. It's just the original SNS but improved straight up. But now let's move on to our first silkbind attack, which reintroduces the shield slam plunge just in a new way. We use a wirebug to leap up into the air, landing a quick blow on the way up with the sword, and then plunging back down with a more powerful version of the shield plunge. I must say, this is concerning. Like, can we still plunge with the shield by default, or can we only do it with this silkbind attack? If that were the case, then that would take away from the SNS's inert ability to choose between slash and blunt damage on the fly. Hopefully though, this silkbind attack is just an improved version, not taking away our choice to plunge with the shield whenever we wanted to. Next though, our second silkbind attack. This is one we've seen all over the trailers and on the website for ages, but we do get to see it a bit more in action here. Attaching a wirebug string to our sword, we're going to whip that around at insane speed for what looks like great damage all around the hunter, even behind them. A big benefit of this move is definitely its range to reach higher and hit higher than most normal SNS attacks. But also, this does hit a lot at once, like many separate hits, which is obviously great for status effects or element hits. And on top of that, it also nullifies any monster's attack at the first moment you use it, almost like a counter. But that's everything. What do we think? I find the core improvements to both weapons pretty damn good. Hammer is looking so strong and even more fun than it was in Iceborne, while SNS has some new flashy tricks, but hopefully keeps its ability to swap between blunt and of course slash damage with the sword by choice. Either way, all the silkbind attacks look really good, and it's awesome to see 2 more world monsters come into Rise. What do you guys think, you Hammer and SNS mains? Are you happy? That's today's weapon breakdowns though, so until our next one, probably tomorrow, I've been Hollow, you've been you, and I'll see you in the next one.